We are joined by driver of the number 75 truck for Henderson Motorsports, son of Phil Parsons, nephew of Benny Parsons. We are joined by the one and only Stefan Parsons right here on Miles on Motorsports. Stefan, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely great to have you here. On the entry list at Bristol, we'll talk about that coming up as well. But let's jump right into things, and obviously another guy from a racing family. Tell us how you caught the racing bug.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever had an option, to be honest with you. And by that, I mean, I don't ever remember not wanting to be a race car driver. It's something that I've always wanted to do, always aspired to be, growing up around the racetrack and, at race shops and stuff like that. I guess it bit me early. So, yeah, definitely, I don't think I ever remember a time when I wasn't looking forward to going to a racetrack.
Talk about a funny coincidence. Today is the anniversary of your father's first Busch Series win, 1982, the Southeast 150. I believe that was at Bristol as well. Going to Bristol this weekend in the 75 truck, a new ride for you this year. Talk to us a little bit about what to expect this weekend out in Bristol.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was the anniversary of that. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've been going to been having Bristol Dirt in the spring for the last few years. I ran the truck race last year in Bristol Dirt, so but love going to Bristol without dirt on it, honestly. With the concrete, it's one of the better short tracks that we have on the schedule, and personally one of my favorite tracks. It's where I made my first ever truck start. It's where I got my first top 10, and obviously, like you said, it's been a really cool place for our family. So definitely excited about that. We've got Pop RVs on board this weekend. A great new partner that are going to be with us at this weekend and at Charlotte in May. Best place online to find used RVs and boats. But yeah, no, super exciting weekend. It's really the Super Bowl for us at Henderson Motorsports. Obviously, Food Country USA. That's their backyard. They're based right around there, and this is a big race for us this weekend. So we're hoping we can go and have a solid run. We started out the season with a solid run to Daytona, and just hoping we can keep that momentum going.
Stefan, what's your normal week like in preparation for a race coming up on the weekend?
Yeah, it varies from week to week. Thankfully, this time, this week I was able to be on the simulator at the tech center. Obviously, got to be super thankful to Chevy for that. But trying to just be as prepared as possible. Living in the Charlotte area, I try and drive up to the shop in Virginia as much as I can. The shop is actually about 20 minutes or so from the racetrack in Bristol. Just making sure we cross all our T's and dot all our I's, from a team perspective, working with my crew chief, Chris, and making sure we're as prepared as possible when we have a plan going to the weekend. And then as a driver, just making sure that I'm as prepared as possible when we show up to the racetrack on Saturday. So, definitely a lot of back and forth during the week, but whatever it takes to be, like I said, as prepared as possible.
New team this year. You're running for Henderson Motorsports, as we mentioned in the Craftsman Truck Series. Tell us a little bit about the schedule you got put together. I know it's a bit of a part-time effort this year, and what races and tracks we can expect to see you at.
Yeah, like I said, Bristol is a really important one for us and our partners. Super thankful to be going to COTA next weekend as well with Trophy Tractor and Spring Rates. Spring Rates has been a long-time supporter of mine, and also a great place online, a great site online to find suspension parts and aftermarket car parts. And then Trophy Tractor is also based in Texas. So really cool to have local companies on board for these races. And got a couple announcements coming soon for some more coming races. Like we said, we already announced Charlotte, which it's always fun to race at your home track, and that's the place I began racing and grew up racing the summer shootout in Bandoleros. So, definitely have some cool stuff coming up. Really excited about our schedule, and all that stuff will be coming out soon.
Stefan, I'm so glad you're joining us tonight. I've been waiting to ask this question to an active NASCAR driver for the longest time. What is the infield care center process like? Is it going through the motions? Is it like a checkup? I've always wondered what it's like in a modern NASCAR race. What happens when you go from the ambulance to your post-race interview? What is in between that?
Yes, it's not fun. It's never fun or particularly enjoyable when you have to go to the care center. But everybody at NASCAR and the AMR safety team does a great job of taking care of us and making sure we're all healthy. But you get in there and they check your vitals and making sure you're not hurt anywhere. And then you have to do your concussion testing and stuff like that. And they're just very thorough and making sure that there's nothing wrong with us. The thing about us drivers is sometimes we can be stubborn, and we can kind of, nobody wants to get hurt or nobody wants to be hurt. But the AMR safety team does a really good job of taking care of us and making sure that we're still in good shape.
So we've had Petty's on here, we've had Earnhardt's, we have also had Labonte's. We've got a Parsons on here. I can't let you get out of here tonight without talking a little bit, not only about your father and some of his racing career, but also your uncle. And I know you were younger back in the day when your uncle was around, when we were watching TNT and race coverage. But do you have any great family stories to share about your Uncle Benny?
Yeah, it's tough because I was younger when he passed away, but I do remember. He used to do a radio show at the Speedway, and I remember my dad would take me over there, and we would kind of hang out, and I would watch them do that. And just truthfully, as I've grown up and grown older and been fortunate enough to meet fans at the track, there are a lot of fans that just have stories of Benny and just, how kind he was and how good he was with names. It's like almost like he never forgot somebody's name. But just, to hear that and hear, how loved he was by the fans and also how respected he was in the industry has been super cool for me as I've gotten older. And then, obviously the huge honor of him getting inducted to the Hall of Fame was a great thing for our family that we were really proud of. Wish he could have been here for that. And then, and then obviously growing up, with my dad, just a lot of memories at the racetrack. My dad and I, our relationship is built on racing. Obviously, it's something we're both very passionate about. Whenever we talk on the phone, we're always talking about something to do with racing, whether it's myself or kind of who he's talked to, what he's heard, and what's going on in the sport. So, very, very fortunate and very thankful to have had him to lean on. I definitely wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for him just teaching me the ropes, teaching me along the way, teaching me how to drive, first of all, and now as I've gotten older, teaching me kind of some more behind-the-scenes stuff and just, just helping push me along and being able to watch him. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch him race too much, but watching him do TV and how passionate he is about that and how much work he puts into that and how much he enjoys that. And then when he had his own team as well, just, growing up and seeing his work ethic has been something that is it's definitely been very important to me.
Stefan, talk about having that connection to, say, the past, because racing's changed from the 80s and the 90s to now, but you have that connection that dates back 70s and before. What's the biggest lesson you were taught from that older generation that you use now to help you in your career?
I would say just, no matter how tough things get, how many times you get knocked down, you just keep grinding and keep getting back up. Every day you wake up and you go to work is a day you get closer to achieving your goals. And, that's, I think, the biggest lesson that I've taken away.
I know your dad, Phil, Uncle Benny, involved in the broadcast area as well, post-racing career. Does that cross your path, or do you see it becoming a part of your life at any point in the future? I know you're young and racing should be at the forefront now, but is there any interest in sports media or broadcasting in general?
Yeah, I haven't thought about it too much just because, obviously have been super focused on racing and trying to, obviously make it as a driver and eventually hopefully make it to the Cup Series. Obviously that's the goal. But, obviously growing up around my dad and being in the TV compound and being in the booth and kind of seeing the behind the scenes stuff is something that is really cool that, I don't think that a lot of fans get to see the kind of behind the scenes stuff and how much work goes into the production and the talent and just everything they do. And, I definitely find that interesting and, would love to maybe do that one day. But haven't given any real thought now as I'm still racing.
Been talking with the driver of the number 75 Chevrolet for Henderson Motorsports in the Craftsman Truck Series, running out at Bristol this weekend. Stefan Parsons joining us. Stefan, mention again the sponsors on the truck for you this weekend, and what would a happy, productive weekend finish be for you this weekend?
Yeah, we've got Pop RVs on the boat. You can visit them at popsells.com. A lot of great choices for RVs. If you're ever looking for an RV or boat online, that's the place to go. Super happy and thankful to have them on board and want to have a good run. And then obviously Food Country USA, which obviously very closely related with the Henderson Racing team. Henderson Racing has been a part of that business for such a long time. It's such a staple of that community. So, to be able to go ahead for our partners this weekend would be huge. I would just love, as me and myself and the team kind of begin this relationship. Obviously, had a good run at Daytona, but Bristol is a totally different animal, a totally different track. So, I'd love to be able to go and show speed this weekend and have a solid run. If we could get a top 10, I think we could seriously, build some momentum into the coming weeks, and that's what we want to do. We want to build a notebook and just put ourselves in a position to keep getting better throughout the year.
Excellent. Stefan Parsons joining us, and appreciate your time. Great to talk with you. Good luck there out this weekend, and we'll see you at a track soon. Thanks again for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.